Hello, everyone. So I just want to talk about how I noticed that a lot of my followers believe in balkanization, or that's the plan, or that's what they think should happen. And not to say it won't or it will, who really knows? Or maybe for some groups of people it will, and then for others, no, it won't. But the point I'm trying to make is as long as a government exists, I generally don't think balkanization is going to happen. And two, I think only certain people would really be allowed to balkanize. Like, okay, maybe non-whites, leftists, or whatever, they'll be allowed to, but if whites, right-wingers, or anything in between that, whatever, I don't really see the government letting you do that. I mean, if you try, I see more like, what was that? What I kind of envision like Waco, Texas happening to you. I mean, if you want to try that, I would say you're a fool to want to try that. I mean, I don't think it will work out for you. Now, will the cathedral, the system, be more lenient to minorities trying to do that, or leftists, or whoever? Probably. However, with that being said, I want to say something and I'm not even saying I'm 100% against the idea either. Now, I wouldn't really necessarily want to live in like some white ethno state. I want something more specific than that. But okay, let's go with your plan. Let's say some of you followers end up becoming leaders of your little states, whatever they be. It doesn't even have to be ethnic. It could be around like anything, right? America's falling apart, right? Now let's say I'm the leader of my little territory, right? All right, let's say a little francophone territory in Louisiana or somewhere like that. Cool. I'm gonna be kind of honest with you guys. As someone who has either been my more francophone ancestors, my Anglo ancestors, or my Irish ancestors, the one thing that most of them have in common is they fought in the American Revolution, and they came here relatively early in 1600s, and they established this country, right? So, why should I give it up? That's the question. Why should I give it up? Thing is, I probably wouldn't, and I would probably try to establish taking back as much territory as I can. And what would that mean? That means I would have to take back other people's territory. However, I do hate how people have this idea. This is something that I have a problem with the kind of modern nation state, is that you're either a part of it or you're not. Like, there's definitely something I prefer about the Middle Ages, because you can be part of an empire, but you still have your de facto autonomy, let's say within a duchy or a county. Like, you have a lot more autonomy, even more than our states. I mean, look at the what was it? The Holy Roman Empire, for instance. Everyone attacks them like, it's either holy or Roman or war. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, it really served its purpose. I mean, it was a bunch of smaller states teaming up together to protect themselves from France and larger kingdoms, and it lasted quite a while. But in a sense, that kind of makes sense. So, back to what I was saying. So, America's relatively weakened. I would set up my own autonomy, of course. Of course, this is all LARPing, but a lot of this breaking away things, seceding and stuff, I do kind of view as LARP. But not saying it's really wrong or bad either. It's just, I don't know if it's really going to get you anywhere. But I wouldn't really officially break away, even though everyone else is. Like, I would still stay using the same currency, stay sort of a part of it, but our own de facto independence. So what would that mean? So, So I wouldn't really necessarily betray the empire. I wouldn't. What I mean by empire, I'm just referring to America. I'm not saying I agree with what America does overseas or anything like that, but I wouldn't do that. I would actually do what who are these people called? The Franks. You've heard of them, the Germanic tribe. And here's an example. When the Western Empire was leaving Gaul, a lot of people today have this stupid idea that it's just Germanics versus Romans. That's it. It's a little bit more complicated. That is generally the Franks are seen as more Roman. More Roman, as more pro-Roman. While their enemies, let's say the Alemanni, who are around the Alsace-Lorraine region, were seen as more pro-Germanic. So it's easier for the Franks to get the population on their side. And in the end, when you had the rising of the Frankish Empire, they saw themselves as a successor state to the western half of the empire, and they were trying to recreate the western half of the empire. The point I'm trying to make is that I would try to recreate the United States in my own vision. I would. And I would unironically invade territory, and I wouldn't give a shit who it is. Like, it could be maybe Ignats in the Northwest, or Chicano nationalists in the Southwest, or maybe New Afrikaans. I would not give a damn. I would, if you didn't submit, and I'm not saying, like, it would still be different than America is today. Like, there still be a lot more regional autonomy. You could still decide who you want in your little state, but ultimately you're gonna be over this new empire. That's my way of thinking. Like, my ancestors built this country, so I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna keep it for myself. And if you don't like it, and if you wouldn't submit to what I wanted, and you didn't want to join my little empire, yeah, I would probably crush you and then take your territory. You can call that imperialism. Like, that's imperialism. I don't fucking care. I really don't care. This is how I feel about people who want to think balkanization is the answer. And this is, if I had the power to do this, I fucking would do it. Because I have my own interests. I have what I want to do. Alright? I'll admit, I probably sound like a fucking crazy ass. But in general, though, that was a lot of that. Probably sound larpy as hell, but I just don't put much faith into balkanization. Not saying it won't happen, but if I were, let's say figuratively, probably won't happen. But if that were to happen, and I were to gain some sort of footing, then fuck yeah, I would do that. Frankia's coming for ya, bitches.